I work primarily in textile. I do things with pattern, yarn, and fabric. Those are kind of my three primary areas. I'm Liz Collins. I'm an artist and designer, and I live in Brooklyn. I'm inspired by so many things all the time. Life itself is an inspiration to me, and just being a person in the world, and the relationships I have with people, and emotional things like love, lust, sexuality, energy. I work in a lot of different media, from painting and drawing to the range of different textile processes, weaving, knitting, print, embellishment. I'm always inspired by nature in different ways. That fabric that I just opened, the idea is that it's being made to put on these walls and on furniture in this space. I do a lot of things by hand, but I also do a lot of work with fabricators, specifically textile mills. This piece is the original artwork that I made with tape to create the design for that fabric. And it's a scale, so it's 1 inch to 1 foot. I was wanting to have like really big, bold graphic pattern. Some of the things I produce, I make with mills in Italy, Peru, in the United States, so there's a big kind of industrial component. I was invited to be one of the artists in the BRIC Biennial, and this time they're focusing on South Brooklyn, where we are right now, in Sunset Park. I have a big sculpture there called Strainer. The sculpture that I made for this show is a reconfiguration of a sculpture that I did for an installation at the Tang Museum at Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs, New York. Usually when I put the piece in a new form, I change the name. But in this case, I really felt the piece deserved to have the same name because it's doing the same thing, which is straining material. The ropes have these kind of plastic tapes inside that have text on them, which is really interesting too, about the brand and the type of rope it is. What are these for? And in this case, they're for nothing other than this experience of like liquid gravity and material spilling out from this like hard wedge onto the ground in this big pile. This is a little bit kind of like micro, which I tend to be like a micro macro kind of artist. Like I'm really zoning in on very small details in the worlds within the worlds. I choose textiles as my medium because it goes way back to when I was a kid and my family, and I feel like it's in my blood. My parents, grandparents who were involved with textiles in one way or another. My father was a sailor, and he made his own sails with an industrial sewing machine, and I also sometimes think of my kind of affinity for rope, and this kind of material is something to do with growing up around that. There's so many things to communicate to people about life through my filter. And then there are all kinds of ideas also about labor and production and things that are a little more left-brained and less kind of mystical and artful that I think are an underlying concept in my work. And then there's also a big element of collaboration that comes forward in a lot of my installations, and that's something exciting to me to talk about community.